Today we're going to speak about the ease in benefiting from the prophet's night journey. Everybody knows of the prophet's night journey. Well, today I'm going to teach you how you can take what happened there and apply it to your life and get strength and solace from it. Okay, in dealing with your hardships. And again, we have to remember, guys, that we were created to worship Allah. We were put here on this earth to be tested over and over and over again to see if we truly believe in Him. And as we encounter the trials of life, as we deal with the hardships of life, our faith increases. And not only that, not only does our faith grow based on how we handle the hardships of life, but also Allah sends reward to us. He sends inspirations to us. Allah wants you to do well. He wants you to know that He is pleased with you. And a lot of people ask this question every day. Dear Sister Laila, I encounter so many struggles, but I remain patient and firm. Is there any way that we can ever know that Allah is happy with us? Is there any way that we can know that Allah is pleased with us? Well, yes. The answer is from your good dreams. And we talked about this before in the hadith class. The Prophet ﷺ told us in an authentic hadith that our good dreams, they come from Allah. They are inspirations from Allah. He also told us that one of the signs of the last hour is that truthfulness will disappear and only be found in the dreams of the righteous person. So yes, Allah, if Allah is pleased with you, if Allah is happy with you, He will send you good, beautiful dreams. And also, Allah will use those dreams to inspire you, to motivate you, and to encourage you on during your life. Okay? We have to understand something though. When we talk about Allah sending us good dreams, understand that there will be no prophets after the Prophet Muhammad. Allah is not going to send you dreams about the future. Allah is not going to send you dreams making you think that you are a prophet or a messenger. But still, He will send you inspirations to do good. There's a big difference. Allah's not going to send you a dream saying tomorrow you will get married and you will give birth to a son who will grow up and call others. Allah's not going to send you dreams like that because you ain't no prophet. But He will send you inspirations to do good, happy dreams, encouraging you to continue to make your prayers every day. Happy dreams, encouraging you to continue to wear your hijab despite what other people say. Happy dreams, encouraging you to continue to give in charity, to continue to seek knowledge of your religion. He'll send you dreams like that. Also, guys, remember, each and every one of us also has an angel assigned to our heart. And remember, we talked about this the other day. That angel also inspires us to do good. He also inspires us to say good things. So just as that angel inspires you to do good, those good thoughts you get, maybe I should give a call to Sister Amatula to check on her. Wow, that's a good idea. I wonder where that idea came from. That idea came from that angel of your heart. And just like he inspires you to do good, also our good dreams serve as an inspiration from Allah too. So thus the believer today, we can all be inspired to do good just as the righteous people of the past were inspired through our dreams. Does everybody understand that? There will be no more prophets, but there are many messengers. I want you guys to know that. There's many messengers. I am a messenger. Dr. Dramali is a messenger. Imam Hassan is a messenger. Sheikh Bazuni is a messenger. All Daiyee, or all callers to the truth, we are all messengers, not prophets, messengers. That means we are people who convey the message of the truth to others. So there will be messengers, but there will never, ever, ever be any more prophets after Muhammad. Does everybody understand that? So Allah sends inspirations to us to encourage us to continue to do good through our dreams. And also that angel that's assigned to our heart, he encourages us to do good as well. And on the other hand, we have to also remember that we have a jinn assigned to us too. And that jinn is evil, and he will remain evil. And he is put there to inspire you to do things that are bad. He's the one that gives you the bad thoughts. He's the one that gives you the bad dreams too. He's the one that wants to make you think that your good dreams of inspiration were more than what they were. So thus, as Muslims, we are constantly struggling or striving against ourselves to determine if our inspirations are good or evil and how to react to them. Because we're constantly faced with thoughts. But is this a good thought or is it a bad one? Is this a good thing to do or is it a bad thing to do? Should I read more into that dream or just accept it for what it was and keep going? See? So we're caught between the two. We're caught between that angel of the heart and that evil jinn, and we have to balance and decide which inspiration is good or bad. And if the inspiration was a good one, then the struggle continues as you try to get others to accept whatever that goodness is. Let me give an example. And again, a lot of people say, "Dear Sister Laila, why do you use yourself as an example in your lectures?" Because that's what the Prophet Muhammad did. And that's what the Prophet Muhammad taught us to do. I am supposed to be a role model to you guys. I'm your teacher. So I'm going to use examples that you can relate to, just like the Prophet used examples and metaphors that the companions could relate to. And I always use my website as an example because all of you can relate to that because you're all here every day seeing what's going on. So that's why I use myself as an example. What better example to use other than myself and the Prophet and his companions? I can't use you as an example because I don't know you. But I do know me. Okay? So again, let me use myself here as an example. When I first had the thought to create this website back in 1995, it was something unheard of, something that no one else had ever done. No one was sitting on the internet teaching Islam using voice technology. So was this something good or was this something bad? I had to weigh this around in my head, and I fought against it for weeks. Before I finally gave the approval to go ahead and make this website because there's good in it and there's also bad. So again, this is what we're caught up in. Whenever we get these ideas, when an inspiration comes to us, we have to decide, is it good or bad? And if it ends up being something good, which is what I did, I said, well, the good outweighs the bad. For one thing, I can have scholars come here. Scholars of the religion who live in Egypt. It was Sheikh Morsi. Sheikh Morsi lived in Egypt. He can come here and he can teach Islam in its truthfulness to the Muslims around the world without them having to leave their homes. So the good outweighed the evil. So when I decided to move ahead with this plan, then the struggle continued as I tried to get others to accept it. I had to convince Sheikh Morsi that it's a good thing to do. I had to convince other people that this is a good thing to do. I need help in this. Help me make this website. The brother that lived in Saudi Arabia, Brother Mish, he was the one that first designed this website. He said, are you sure this is what you want to do? Because you're going to also have people coming on there trying to flirt. Coming on there trying to pick up people. Are you sure? I had to convince him, yes, the good outweighs the evil, Brother Mish. We can teach true Islam based on the Quran and Sunnah to Muslims around the world who have no way of learning, who don't have any scholars right there for them, Brother Mish. So he listened to me. He said, okay, mashallah, I agree with you. Let's get on it. And he was the first to design our website. Okay? So again, if we receive an inspiration that is good, then the struggle continues. Because we now have to try to get others to accept the goodness of it. And this was the case of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. Now remember, the prophets are different than us. They have a jinn too. But Allah made their jinn Muslim. So the prophets are not inspired to commit sins like adultery, fornication, and stuff like that, like we are. They are not inspired to do bad things because their personal jinn is Muslim. But they still had to struggle with trying to get the people to accept and believe what they felt to be good. And this was the case with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He had to get the people to accept and believe him, to believe that he was first of all a prophet and a messenger sent by Allah, and also to accept that what he was telling them was the truth. And most of the times he was met with opposition. So this is what happens, guys. Yes, Allah inspires us to do good, but we also have our personal jinns inspiring us to do evil. We have to learn to decide between the two. And if it is something good, then the struggle begins as we try to convince others to accept it. And this is what happened with the Prophet Muhammad. And one great example was his night journey. His night journey. Let me tell you about the Prophet's night journey. One night, the angel Jibril came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He came knocking on his door. And when the Prophet answered the door, voila, there was Angel Jibril. And he was accompanied by this beautiful beast from paradise known as the Buraq. Okay? The angel Jibril told the Prophet, he said, oh Muhammad, climb up on the back of this beast because we're going on a journey tonight. And they physically took him to the city of Jerusalem, to the sacred mosque there. And once the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam arrived there, he went inside the mosque and he met all the other prophets of Allah. He met them all. He met Moses, Jesus, Abraham, Jonah, Noah, Yusuf, Isaac, Ezekiel. He met them all. And he led them all in prayer. After they prayed, Jibril told the prophet to climb back on the back of the beast, because we're going somewhere else, Muhammad, and hold on for the ride of your life. And Jibril, alayhi salam, and the Buraq, they took the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi salam, up through the heavens. And when they reached the lowest heaven, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam was greeted by his brother, Prophet Adam, who was the father of all mankind. Adam greeted him and affirmed his prophethood. It was then that Allah told Adam, he said, Adam, I want you to look to your right. And when Adam looked to his right, Allah said, those people on the right of your descendants, they are the ones who will enter paradise. And Adam smiled. Adam laughed. And then Allah said, oh Adam, don't laugh too hard. I want you to look to the left. And when Adam looked to the left, Allah said, those of your descendants are the ones who will be in the hellfire. And Adam cried. This happened on the Prophet's night journey. And then the angel Jibril, he told the Prophet Muhammad, come on Muhammad, let's continue to travel on. And he took him up to the second heaven. And that's when he met Prophet John, alayhi salam, and his cousin Jesus. John and Jesus, they greeted the Prophet Muhammad and affirmed his prophethood. And then the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam was taken up to the third heaven. And this is where he met the beautiful, most handsome man he'd ever seen. And that man was Yusuf, or Joseph. He too greeted the Prophet and affirmed his prophethood. Jibril then told the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, don't rest. We still got more to see. And he took him up to the fourth heaven. And this is when the Prophet Muhammad met Prophet Idris. Who was Idris? He was the first to write. He greeted the Prophet Muhammad, shook his hand, gave him a hug, and affirmed his prophethood. And then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam was taken up to the fifth heaven. And here is where he met Aaron. And who was Aaron? Prophet Aaron. He was the brother of Moses. And then in the sixth heaven, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam humbled himself, because guess who he met there? Here is where he met Moses alayhi salam. Moses, the one whom when the angel of death came to take his soul, he didn't want to go. So he slapped the angel of death and knocked out his eye. Oh, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam was honored to meet Moses, the one whom Allah speaks of the most in the Quran is Moses. And when the Prophet walked past Moses, Moses broke down and cried. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, oh Moses, why are you crying, my brother? The famous Moses, you're crying? And Moses alayhi salam looked at the Prophet Muhammad. He said, I am crying because the nation of a man sent after me will enter paradise, and he will have more followers than my nation. The Prophet Muhammad said, who could have more followers than you, O Moses? And Moses said, that person is you, O Muhammad. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Everybody knows that Allah mentions Moses so much in the Quran because he was a great example for all of us. He was tested over and over and over and over and over again by his followers. Allah sent more miracles. Allah sent more miracles to the children of Israel than anyone else. But they still continue to reject Allah. They still continue to fight against him. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself said, no prophet suffered more at the hands of his people than Moses did. So these words that Moses gave the Prophet Muhammad, that your nation will be larger than mine, those words served as a means of giving hope to our prophet, who had just experienced the most trying experience of his prophethood. And you guys know what it was? It was the rejection from the people of Taif that we talked about yesterday. This night journey occurred right when the prophet arrived home from Mecca, home to Mecca from encountering the people of Taif. So when Moses told him that you will have a greater following than even me, your people will outnumber even mine, that gave the prophet hope. Subhanallah. And then the prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was taken up to the seventh heaven. And it was here in the seventh heaven where he met Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. And then after meeting Ibrahim alayhi salam, whom he looked like, the Prophet Muhammad resembled him a lot in looks. After meeting him, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was then taken up to Sidrat al-Muntaha, which is a tree, one of the largest trees of paradise that serves as the praying niche for the angel Jibril. And also in this seventh heaven, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was allowed to see El Beit al-Mamart. This is a house in paradise that the angels enter and never come out of. After seeing that house, it was then that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stood in the presence of Allah. And listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. And it was at a distance of 2 bows length or even closer. Allah revealed to Muhammad through Jibril whatever he revealed. And what happened at this time was, this is when Allah revealed to the Prophet Muhammad through the angel Jibril that Muslims have to pray. This is when the daily prayer was made incumbent upon him and his followers. And Allah commanded him to go back and teach his people to pray to him 50 times a day. 50 times a day. And after that, the angel Jibril said, come, O Prophet of Allah, let's go back. And as they began to descend from the heavens, when the prophet passed by Moses, Moses said, hey, Muhammad, what did Allah command you to do? And the prophet said, I was commanded to offer 50 prayers a day Moses said, Subhanallah, no way. Your people will not be able to do that. I know. I know. So go back to Allah and beg for him to reduce the prayer. And this is when Allah reduced the prayer down to just 5 times a day. But originally, guys, Allah had it at 50 times a day. Can you imagine praying to Allah 50 times a day? Most Muslims find it difficult to do those 5. So imagine how difficult 50 would have been. Also, guys, let me stress something else about this journey. There are some Muslims out there who believe that the Prophet saw Allah during this meeting. But this is not correct. The Prophet did not see Allah. No one will see Allah until the day of judgment. And what do I base this on? The following hadith. Ibn Abbas, who was one of the eminent companions, he said the Prophet did not see Allah. He felt him in his heart. Remember, he stood in the presence of Allah. And he felt him in his heart. And remember, Allah revealed to the Prophet to perform the prayers. Also, guys, listen to what Aisha and Ibn Masud said. They said, indeed, when Allah says, indeed, Muhammad saw Jibreel at a second descent, this referred to the angel Jibreel, not to seeing Allah. And also we have another authentic hadith that one of the companions, Abu Dar, he asked the Prophet, he said, O Prophet of Allah, did you ever see your Lord? And the Prophet said, how could I see him when he is light? So all of that proves that the Prophet did not see Allah on this journey. He felt him. And Allah communicated to him through his heart and through the angel Jibreel. So now, having been commanded for his worshipers to worship Allah 5 times a day, the angel Jibreel and the Buraq, they brought the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam back home. And the next day, when the people gathered to make the Fajr prayer, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stood up and told the people what had happened. He said, guess what? Allah sent Jibreel, and Jibreel took me on a journey. I went to Jerusalem, and then I traveled through the different heavens. But guess what? The people laughed at him. They made fun of him. What do you mean you went to Jerusalem? Do you know how many days? It would take a week to go from here to Jerusalem. How did you do that in a night? You're crazy. You're insane. Muhammad has lost his mind. In fact, guys, even many of his companions began to doubt him. But to help the Prophet be convincing, Allah sent inspirations to the Prophet in a vision, showing him how the mosque in Jerusalem looked. So the Prophet was able to describe the mosque in Jerusalem to the people, to convince them that he went there. He saw the inside of that mosque and he remembered it. But still, they chose to not believe him. And again, that included many of his companions. It was not until Abu Bakr heard about what happened. When Abu Bakr heard that the Prophet had went on this night journey, it was Abu Bakr who publicly stood up and said, if Muhammad says that he has seen these things, he saw them. And if Muhammad said he went to Jerusalem, then he went. And that's how Abu Bakr got the nickname as-sadiq, which means forever truthful. So here we can see, guys, even when we are inspired to do good, the hard part is convincing others to accept it. And this is the case of the believer even today. We live our lives trying to convince the people of the truths of Allah. But people still reject us. They still make fun of us. They still ridicule us, just like they did the prophet. And the hypocrites are even worse, guys. And like I told you, every masjid is filled with hypocrites. There's hypocrites in every community. They're going to challenge you. Even at this website, you guys saw it yesterday. I come here every day to teach you guys Islam. Everything I'm teaching you is authentic. I have the hadiths right here on the screen for you to read along and see. I have the verses of the Quran here to back up. And you will not find any true scholar on earth who will challenge anything I'm saying, because they believe as I believe. But still, I got hypocrites here. There's still Muslims sitting in this website right now waiting for me to stop teaching so they can add their comments trying to refute me. The hypocrites, they will challenge and reject us despite the proofs that we come up with. But just like the prophet endured this and he remained firm, the same for us. We have to remain firm just as he did. We have to accept the fact that most of the people that we know will be in the hellfire. Remember, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, out of every 100 people you know, 99 of them will be in hell. So while they are sitting there making fun of you, slandering you, ridiculing you, know that they will be in the hellfire. You continue on to remain firm to the truth, to live the truth, and try to be that one person who makes it to paradise. Do not allow the people of disbelief and the people of hypocrisy to pull you down. Do not allow them to pull you away from your Lord. Our prophet serves as an example for not allowing this. Guess what, guys? Even today, there are many, many people claiming to be Muslim who actually reject the prophet's night journey. They say, oh, it was just a dream. Well, guess what? It was not a dream. It was a reality. And whoever does not believe that it happened, they're not Muslims. They're not believing Muslims. So we have to learn from the prophet and his example and remain firm upon the reality of Islam, despite the hypocrites, despite the unbelievers, despite those who want to pull you down. You remain firm and don't let them break you.